Hi, this is Vincent from China. I'm now in Lhasa, Tibet. In this video, I'm going to compare the three phones. They are Sony Xperia 1 Mark V, Samsung S23 Ultra, and Huawei P60 Pro. Now you're seeing through me from the front-facing camera. They all support 4K 60 frames per second, which is great. I will keep switching the audio source so you can identify which one is doing best on video quality and sound quality.
Let's make a blind test on the main camera video, which clip is the best you like. I think I should be the first one on YouTube putting Sony phone into a side-by-side comparison. Sony is always a big name. Xperia 1 Mark V is a very expensive phone. Sony keeps saying they deploy new technology inherited from their professional cameras. Is it really good? This has been a question in my mind for many years till I made this video. Now we have the answer. In short, Sony Xperia 1 Mark V is so different in managing the exposure, stabilization, HDR and white balance. Seems like from a different era. For example, Sony took much longer time on adjusting the exposure. What is your opinion towards Sony's performance? Samsung S23 Ultra is surely the best among the three phones. Outstanding stabilization performance, but the color on Samsung looks a bit washed out. Huawei P60 Pro is with higher saturation and dynamic range, which looks more vivid, but doing poor in stabilization. And this scenario is to have a long work to test the stabilization. Last testing task for main camera is on auto-focusing. Welcome to leave a message for opinion exchanging. Appreciate you could consider to subscribe my channel if this video really delivers something usable. Switching to ultra-wide camera, I will walk across this wood bridge facing sunlight. It's quite a challenging scenario. Let me pan around, but we can hardly see any jitter. The ultra-wide sensor for all phones are 12 megapixels, but the clearness on Huawei P60 Pro fell behind. Samsung is still with the best stabilization with higher saturation. Which one is your preference? Zooming cam comparison now. Which phone you can see the Portala palace clearly? The resolution for Huawei is 48 megapixels, which is far exceeds Sony's 12 megapixels and Samsung's 10 megapixels. At first sight, Huawei is with the best clearness. When we apply digital zooming to 5x, this result is more convincing. The image on Samsung S23 Ultra is over-sharpened and made some color adjustments so the shadow in the mountain looks blue. Sony is in the middle, just a bit blurred. I think Sony is doing great, considering the phone size. When we move to 10x, Samsung S23 Ultra is no doubt the king for its optical 10x zooming cam. Huawei should be the second and Sony is the third. Do you agree on this result?
It's 10 o'clock in the evening. I'm now in another city of Tibet, which is Lhasa. Now let's test the nighttime video shooting. In which phone you can see my face clearly?
Ultra-wide video at night. The difference is so apparently. Samsung S23 Ultra gave us a pretty clear view, but dropped down the frame rates a bit and with many noise points. Huawei P60 Pro is slightly behind. For Sony Xperia 1 Mark V, the view is pretty dark. Let's go back to Lhasa to test the night zooming video. I'm now standing on a mountain which is about 4,000 meters above sea level. All phones are handheld in a relaxed way to make the testing environment close to most people's daily usage. The view in Samsung S23 Ultra is super steady. It's really impressive. And Huawei P60 Pro gave us best clarity and details. For Sony, the visibility seems a problem. The last part of this video comparison is nighttime main camera, which should be the main battlefield among the phones. During daytime, the sun is the only light source, but at night, the phones need to manage different lights from different illuminants. By the meanwhile, to identify the subject and do autofocusing is much more challenging. For this case, with a giant white building, Samsung S23 Ultra reflects the white color close to what we see with our eyes. Sony Xperia 1 Mark V is soft and a bit overexposed. Huawei P60 Pro incorrectly make it look like blue neon light. Maybe such color cast is caused by the RYYB sensor of Huawei. The second thing I want to mention is the light flare. We can see it most obvious on Sony Xperia 1 Mark V. Pay attention to the lanterns, they look quite different on the three phones. Please leave me a message regarding which phone is doing best on nighttime video. Thanks. Now let's step into the photo comparison. I will compare the phones from 7 aspects. The first section is to compare the clarity. Starting from ultra-wide camera, we can easily find the color tone on Sony is pretty cold and pretty warm on Samsung. In terms of clarity, seems Huawei is left behind if we go into the detail. I know this result may be arguable, so I will show one more ultra-wide photo to prove, in which we can see more detail on the decorative pattern. The next is to compare the clearness of main camera sensor. Can you see a difference? Let me enlarge it for 8 times and crop in the central part, then we should have the answer. Samsung S23 Ultra is over-sharpening and lacking most details. The so-called pixel binning technology to combine 60 pixels into one is not working well. For 3x zooming, it's quite close and Huawei is doing slightly better, while for 10x zooming, Sony is the low performer. The second section is portrait comparison. This one was taken by main camera in normal mode. Curious, there are more patterns on my black polo in Sony and Huawei. And this one was taken by 1x portrait mode. The color tone in Samsung S23 Ultra is too red. I'm sorry that these two photos were taken by my choice, so the composition is not good. Daytime backlit selfie seems Sony Xperia 1 Mark V is always doing poor at HDR. In the next session, I'm going to show you some photos so you can have a concept on image style. Sony is just like a real camera, original flavor. The color and chiaroscuro are accurate. Samsung made obvious post-production, just like Apple's diffusion. And Huawei is at the middle. I think it's quite personal preference. One thing I want to highlight is the focusing distance on Sony is very long, especially the zooming cam. I cannot use it to shoot any small things like the flowers. In contrast, Huawei P60 Pro is doing great on tele-macro. Taking landscape photo is essential for travelers like me, so I will definitely test it. And by the way, show you how charming Tibet is. Overall, the performance is pretty good for all phones. However, Sony Xperia 1 Mark V is always darker than actual scene and miss the highlight details. Take these two pictures for example. One is facing the sunlight and the other is back to the sun. Sony Xperia 1 Mark V missed the cloud details in both pictures. Another sample under strong sunlight, Sony missed the detail of the shade. Any comments from you? Can you share? Upcoming is 3 foodie photos. Which one looks most tasty? I think Sony has some sort of advantage on this. Do you agree? The last session in photo comparison is night shot, and this one was shot under blue moon in the evening. The style is significantly different. It looked like a real night photo in Sony and feel like daytime in Huawei. We may have different favorite. Another photo taken by ultra-wide cam at night, Huawei P60 Pro is with less details. In the next 3 photos, I found the color in Sony is a bit reddish or with orange color cast. Huawei is a bit blue. It made Samsung the best in color accuracy, am I right? Here comes to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider to subscribe my channel. Thank you and see you in the next video.